It is easier than ever to build your own app. The cost of entry of app creation with vibe coding and AI tools like Claude and Codex is unprecedented. But at the same time, how do you know the app you're building is actually going to either make you money or real results and be adopted by people and allow all the investment that you've put in it to actually pay back? What I've noticed in the space as someone who has a background of rolling out software and building applications is that most people who are building apps today, they're not going through the actual phases of building a product and launching it successfully, which is idea, MVP, minimum viable product. This is a very important concept in development. When we develop an application and even a service, we always start by developing a minimum viable product, which is the minimum amount of functionality needed for someone to actually use your app and potentially pay for it. So you have a problem, and the minimum viable product is the solution to that problem, one to one. So ideally, when we develop, the idea is based on a problem that we're trying to solve, and the MVP is the solution to that problem. That's the minimum work and capability we need to build with our app in order to actually get someone to use it to solve a real problem they have day to day and actually adopt our application. Otherwise, it's going to be just like probably all the thousands and hundreds of thousands of apps being built right now that no one's ever going to look at except for the person who built it. And then once you have the MVP onto launching, and once you launch, you have some users. It's all about learning from them, doing the research, what's working, what's not working, making sure they adopt it and keep using it, and then we can finally scale. So, idea, MVP, launch, and if you're lucky, scale. That's the way to go when you're building an app. And Anthropic knows that a lot of people are using its software to build apps, but it doesn't mean they're going to be successful. So they want to ultimately see you use Claude to maintain and grow and scale these apps. So they've built a founder's playbook about using their product. So let's get into it. If you go to Claude.com, you can see the founder's playbook building the AI native startup. I think this is really important. So they've basically given us their roadmap to actually go from idea to MVP launch and scale in 2026. You can download here the playbook. There we go. And for each stage of development and building and launching an app, they're giving you the best use cases of using Claude. Let's take a look at the idea stage. Right here, how Claude can help idea stage founders. We see how you can use chat, Claude Cowork, or Claude Code to actually ideate. Then for the MVP stage, which is the most important stage, in my opinion, you can have a lot of great ideas, but building the MVP is absolutely key. Define your architecture. This is super important before you start building. You should never ever build without having an architecture. You have some exercises, defining and enforcing your MVP scope. Scope creep is something that is classic in tech building. It happens all the time. People want things, but the question is, do they want them or do they need them? If people don't need something, even if they said they wanted it, they're not going to end up using it. So you're going to waste all this time, energy, and money potentially building something that people don't need. And that is where it gets really interesting. And that is why MVP scope exists. It should be always prioritizing need over wanting. And super important, make security and compliance a product work stream. Once you go live with an app, and this is why I haven't built an app yet and launched it for other people, day to day maintenance, security, and compliance are very important. When we're building it first and we have an idea, this is the last thing we're thinking about, but this is one of the biggest problems down the line. So, highly recommend that when you build, you make sure that your security and compliance is part of your work stream. And once we start scaling, the most important thing is go to market. You really need to hustle, hustle, hustle. You've come this far, but you really, really want to make this count. So now, how do we hustle, hustle, hustle with Claude to get our app in everybody's hands? So you see that building an app is more than just telling Claude what to do. There's real planning, research, and validation that has to go in for it to be successful. But at the same time, it's so cool that we can do that so much faster now. And I'm going to leave you with a famous Henry Ford quote that we always use in tech. If I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So do your research, do your validation, talk to as many people as possible, use Claude to turn that into insights and improve your app building. But if you truly have a visionary idea, know that just asking people what they want is not necessarily the best way to go about it, but you still need to make sure that you're solving a real problem at the end of the day to make your app actually successful. Happy vibe coding. And if you want to ask me questions, join my community, the Small Biz AI Hub. It's all about helping founders save time and build revenue with AI. And I answer questions on calls, live and direct. We grow your business together.